You didn't choose your relationship with money. Why do you flinch when you open your banking app? Why does your chest tighten before you check a balance you already know is fine? Why do you feel a stab of guilt buying something you can easily afford? Or a hit of shame every time you avoid opening that one envelope from the bank? You've told yourself it's a discipline problem. Get better with money, read another book, build another spreadsheet, and the feeling will go away. It hasn't gone away. And here's the uncomfortable question underneath all of it. What if the way you feel about money was never yours to begin with? What if it was installed in you before you could even talk? By watching someone else's face change when a bill showed up, or a purchase happened, or the word money got spoken out loud in your house. Researchers who study financial behavior have a name for this. They call it a money script. And once you understand what it is, a lot of the shame you've been carrying about your own financial habits starts to look less like a character flaw and more like a program you inherited and never chose. This episode is going to name 4 of those programs, show you exactly how each one quietly sabotages a specific financial goal, and give you a real process for finding your own and rewriting it. Not motivation, not another budgeting hack, an actual look at the belief running underneath the behavior. What a money script actually is. The term comes from research by financial psychologists Brad Klontz and Sonya Britt, published in the Journal of Financial Therapy. They studied why smart, capable people kept repeating the same self-destructive financial patterns even when they knew better on paper. What they found was that most financial behavior isn't driven by knowledge. It's driven by a belief about money that gets formed early, often by around age 7, long before a kid could explain what a bank account even is. And here's the part that matters most. These beliefs are rarely taught with words. Nobody sits a 7-year-old down and says, "Here is our family's official position on money." Instead, the belief gets absorbed by watching. A parent's jaw tightening when a bill arrives. A grandmother celebrating a purchase like it proves something. A father who refuses to ever say what he earns. A household where money is only ever discussed in a hushed, tense voice or never discussed at all. A kid doesn't need a lecture to learn the lesson. The kid is watching the reaction, and the nervous system files that reaction away as truth. That's a money script. An unconscious belief about what money means, formed early, running quietly in the background of every financial decision you make as an adult. And this is the part that trips people up the most. You can know the math. You can understand compound interest. You can build a perfect budget spreadsheet. You can read every finance book on the shelf and still watch yourself behave in ways that contradict all of it. That's not a contradiction. That's the script overriding the knowledge. Klontz and Britt identified 4 dominant patterns. Let's go through them one at a time, because odds are good you're going to recognize yourself, or someone you love, in at least one of these. Script 1, money avoidance. The core belief here is simple and brutal. Money is bad. Money corrupts. People with money are somehow worse people, or money itself is dangerous to hold on to. If that belief is running in you, here's what it produces on the outside. You give money away impulsively, even when it hurts your own position, because holding on to it feels wrong. You avoid checking your bank balance for weeks at a time, not because you're lazy, but because looking feels like confronting something shameful. And here's the pattern that throws people the most. Some people with a money avoidance script actually sabotage themselves right before a raise or a windfall shows up. A big client falls through right when a promotion was close. A tax refund gets blown within days. Underneath, the logic isn't logic at all. It's a feeling. I don't deserve to have more than I have, and having more would confirm something bad about who I am. Picture someone who's built a genuinely solid income, but flinches every single time they spend on themselves, even for something they can clearly afford. like it's an indulgence they need to apologize for. That's not thriftiness. That's a belief that money and guilt are permanently fused together. Script 2, money worship. Flip the previous script completely, and you get money worship. The core belief is that money is the answer. More of it will finally fix the anxiety, the insecurity, the relationship problems, the sense that something's missing. If this script is running, the pattern usually looks like a chase that never lands. Every raise gets absorbed into a slightly bigger lifestyle within weeks, and the same underlying financial anxiety just resets and comes back. Workaholism gets justified as just for now, just until this next milestone, except the milestone keeps moving. Compulsive buying shows up as an emotional regulator. A bad day gets soothed with a purchase instead of dealt with directly. Picture someone who finally lands the raise they've been chasing for 2 years. For about 3 weeks, it feels incredible. Then the new expenses catch up, the anxiety creeps back in exactly the same shape it had before, and the belief quietly reinforces itself. I just need the next raise. That's the trap. Money worship doesn't get satisfied by more money, because the thing it's actually trying to fix was never a math problem in the first place. Script 3, money status. This one is about visibility. The core belief is that net worth equals self-worth, and money is a scoreboard other people are watching. If this script is running, spending gets calibrated to what's visible instead of what's functional. The car, the clothes, the vacation that gets posted, all of it gets weighted heavier than what's actually sitting in savings or what's actually owed on a credit statement. And there's usually a matching second habit: secrecy. Real debt levels get hidden, sometimes from a partner, sometimes from everyone, because the image has to survive even if the actual numbers don't support it. Picture someone driving a leased car they genuinely cannot afford, dressed exactly like their income should be double what it is, while carrying 6 figures of debt nobody around them knows about. From the outside, that looks like success. From the inside, that's a person maintaining a performance, because the script has convinced them the performance is the point. With script 4, money vigilance. This is the quietest script, and honestly the one that gets the least sympathy, because on paper it looks like the responsible one. The core belief is that money should be watched constantly, saved aggressively, and never really discussed. People running this script often do have real financial security, healthy savings, low debt, disciplined habits, but it comes paired with a level of anxiety that never turns off. Spending on necessities feels uncomfortable. Talking about money with a partner feels exposing, even threatening. Picture someone with a genuinely healthy savings account who still feels physically tense, buying something as basic as a proper winter coat. Like every dollar leaving the account is a small betrayal of the goal. That tension is the tell. Vigilance isn't just caution, it's caution that stopped serving the person and started running them. So that's the 4. Avoidance, worship, status, vigilance. 4 different core beliefs, 4 completely different behaviors on the surface, but the same underlying mechanism. An unconscious rule about what money means, installed early, running the show. Where these scripts come from. Here's something worth being precise about, because it's easy to picture a single traumatic money memory as the source. Usually that's not how it works. It's rarely one dramatic event. It's a repeated, ordinary signal absorbed over and over from a caregiver's tone, or silence, or reaction. A parent who sighs every single time a bill hits the counter. A household where the word money is only ever spoken in a tense whisper behind a closed door. A relative who equates a new purchase with having finally made it. None of that is a single traumatic scene. It's more like weather. A kid doesn't remember the specific instance, they just absorb the climate. And the modeling piece matters more than the advice piece. Kids don't learn financial behavior from what they're told to do, they learn it from what they watch get done. You can tell a kid to save money while visibly panicking every time you spend any, and the kid will learn the panic, not the sentence. One more wrinkle worth knowing: the same household can install different scripts in different kids. Birth order, the specific role a kid played in the family, even which parent that kid was closest to, can all shape which version of the money climate got absorbed. That's why two siblings raised in the exact same house can grow up with completely opposite relationships with money. Same weather, different kids standing in a different spot when it rained. Why knowing the right advice doesn't override the script. This is the part that explains the shame spiral so many people carry around money. So let's be blunt about it. You are not failing to apply good financial advice because you're lazy or weak. You're failing to apply it consistently because the script operates below the level where advice even lives. Advice sits in the conscious, rational part of your thinking. The script sits underneath that, in the part of the brain that reacts before you've had a chance to reason anything out. Under normal, low-stress conditions, the rational advice can hold the wheel just fine. But under stress, scarcity, or an emotional trigger, the older, faster system takes over, and it's running on the script, not the spreadsheet. That's why someone can read every personal finance book that exists and still watch themselves blow a windfall, or freeze up avoiding a bank statement, or overspend the second a status trigger hits. It's not that the knowledge didn't stick. It's that the knowledge was never the thing actually driving the behavior in the first place. How each script sabotages a different goal. Here's where this stops being theory and starts being personal. Because each script doesn't just create a vague vibe. It attacks a specific financial goal directly. Money avoidance sabotages saving and investing because both require looking at the number regularly and watching it grow, and growth itself feels dangerous to someone running this script. Money worship sabotages debt payoff because the same instinct that chases the next purchase for an emotional lift will keep spending towards status, while a balance quietly grows in the background. Money status sabotages actual net worth building because income can rise year after year while savings stays completely flat, since every extra dollar gets rerouted into what's visible instead of what compounds. And money vigilance sabotages quality of life. Because the money exists, the safety is real, but it never actually gets used for the purpose it was saved for, which means the security gets built and never gets to be felt. 4 different goals, 4 different points of failure, and in every case the person isn't bad at money. They're accurately executing a program that was never designed to get them where they actually want to go. How to spot your own script. So how do you actually find yours? Because most people can't self-diagnose from a definition alone. The trick is to stop examining what you say you believe about money and start examining how you react to it in the moment. What happens in your body when you open a banking app before you've even seen the number? What do you hide from a partner, and why does hiding it feel necessary? What did your parents actually do around money? Not what they said. What did they do? And just as importantly, what did they pointedly never talk about at all? What physical sensation shows up right before you spend or right before you save? Tightness, relief, guilt, a rush. Those reactions are the data. The stated belief is often a cover story the rational brain built afterward to explain a reaction that happened first. And one more thing worth knowing before you try to slot yourself into exactly one category. Most people aren't a pure type. Plenty of people carry a blend, a little avoidance mixed with a little vigilance, or worship mixed with status. The goal isn't a perfect label. The goal is enough clarity to see the pattern operating, because you can't rewrite something you can't see. Rewriting the script. Once you can see it, the actual rewrite process isn't complicated, but it does take repetition. So don't expect one insight to fix years of programming overnight. Start by naming the specific belief in one sentence. Not a vague feeling, an actual sentence, something like spending on myself is selfish, or more money will finally make me feel secure. Next, trace where it likely came from. Not therapy-level archaeology, just a rough, honest guess at which household signal probably planted it. Then test that belief against a real, recent financial decision you actually made. Did the belief hold up, or did it just create a reaction that cost you something? And finally, this is the part that actually changes behavior. Deliberately practice the opposite in a small, low-stakes way. If vigilance is your script, that might mean making one planned, guilt-free purchase and sitting with the discomfort instead of avoiding it. If avoidance is your script, that might mean checking your balance on a fixed schedule, say every Sunday morning, whether you feel like it or not, until the dread starts to shrink. This isn't about becoming a different person. It's gradual retraining, the same way any deeply grooved habit gets changed, through small, repeated evidence that the old rule isn't actually true anymore. The full picture and one thing to do this week. So here's the whole map in one pass. Money avoidance says money is bad and it sabotages saving and investing by making growth feel dangerous. Money worship says more money will fix everything, and it sabotages debt payoff by chasing a feeling that spending can never actually deliver. Money status says your net worth is your self-worth, and it sabotages real wealth building by rerouting money toward what's visible instead of what compounds. Money vigilance says money must be watched and never discussed, and it sabotages quality of life by keeping real security from ever being felt or used. 4 scripts, 4 goals, 4 points of failure, and underneath every single one of them, the same core truth this entire episode has been building toward. You are not bad with money. You are running a program somebody else installed before you had the vocabulary to question it. The goal was never more willpower. The goal is noticing which program is running and starting, deliberately, to write a new line of code. So here's the one thing to actually do this week. Pick one moment, just one, where you're about to make a money decision, and pause for 5 seconds before you act. Notice what you're feeling in that pause. That feeling is the script talking. You don't have to fix it in that moment. You just have to hear it. That's where the rewrite actually starts. If this gave you a way to finally understand a pattern you've been carrying for years, stick around. There's more where this came from.